Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into the pretty dynamic world of crypto.
Always moving, isn't it?
Definitely. And our focus today is locked onto Onyxcoin. That's XCN.
Right. And XCN, it's kind of interesting because it's not just another crypto project. It's the main token for the Onyx Protocol.
And that protocol has some serious backing, yeah. Like Visa and NASDAQ, you're involved.
Exactly. That's the part that catches your eye. You know, traditional finance players dipping their toes in, or maybe more than dipping. It feels a bit different.
It does. So our mission for this deep dive is basically to unpack what's been going on with XCN lately.
Trying to understand the price movements, the factors behind them.
Yeah, and pull out the key stuff you, the listener, really need to know. We're aiming to skip the super dense crypto jargon if we can.
Definitely. And to do that, we've cast a pretty wide net source-wise.
We have. We've looked at, live exchange data, news articles popping up, analyst predictions.
Technical charts, of course, and even found a pretty detailed YouTube explainer on it.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Where is XCN right now?
Well, as of today, that's April 21st, 2025, the price seems to be sitting around 0.01 seating cent. That's according to CoinMarketCap and CoinRanking.
Right, about 1.7 cents. But it's interesting, you see slightly different numbers depending on where and when you look, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Like OneSafe blog had it at 0.01 cent back near the end of February.
And Shannon Fricks, they reported it higher, more like 0.0298, a bit more recently.
It just shows how quickly things can change, that volatility.
Totally. So big picture view, CoinMarketCap has it ranked number 95 right now.
Which is, pretty high up there. And it's market cap. That's been all over the place.
Yeah. What kind of range are we talking?
Well, depending on the source and the exact day, somewhere between, say, $563 million and up past $1.15 billion.
Wow, that's a huge range. Really shows that ebb and flow of interest.
Exactly. And the trading volume reflects that activity, too.
What's that looking like today?
Today, it's around $40 to $44 million in the last 24 hours.
Okay. Decent volume.
But yeah, some of the earlier sources we saw pointed to much, much higher volumes during those big price spikes we should probably talk about.
Ah, yes, the roller coaster part. Let's get into those surges and drops. Some have been pretty dramatic.
Dramatic is one word for it. I mean, CoinGabber mentioned a 20x increase.
20 times. From what to what?
From around 0.0002, so less than a cent, up to nearly 0.5 cents in just a few months.
That's massive, 2,000%.
And they also flagged a 1,400% jump in just 2 weeks at one point.
Insane. That definitely gets people talking.
You bet. And it wasn't just one isolated surge either. Being Crypto pointed out a 200% rally.
When was that?
Just between April 9th and 11th, so like 2 days.
Wow.
And Disruption Banking noted that price jumped to 0.2 cents right after the Goliath mainnet announcement back in early March.
So multiple big pushes upward. Seems like news-driven, partly.
Seems like it, but crypto being crypto, the drops can be just as sharp.
Right. The correction always comes, doesn't it?
Often does. Disruption Banking also mentioned the price nearly got cut in half after that initial Goliath news excitement wore off.
Ouch.
Yeah. And Shannon Fricks reported a 5.59% drop more recently. CoinGabber noted over 17% down over the past week.
Okay, so still volatile. Crypto News even saw an 18% drop in just 1 day after the Layer 1 launch announcement.
And B in Crypto also mentioned nearly 10% down in the last 7 days. So yeah, up and down.
It really is a ride. Which I guess leads us straight to the big question, why? What's actually causing these swings? It can't all be random.
No, definitely not random. It looks like a major factor is the Onyx Protocol's own tech development, specifically this Goliath mainnet.
Right, tell me more about that.
So think of Goliath as their foundational blockchain, Layer 1, and it's built with financial institutions in mind.
Okay, institutions, and then there's the Layer 3.
Yeah, the XCN ledger, that's Layer 3, designed for specific financial apps that need super fast confirmations, almost instant.
And low fees, presumably.
And very low fees, crucial for finance. And the really key thing is that XCN, the token we're talking about, is what powers both Goliath and the XCN ledger. It's the gas.
Got it. So advancements there directly impact XCN's utility. The YouTube video we watched really hammered that home, didn't it?
It did. It positioned XCN as the base layer for these institutions to build their own blockchain networks using Onyx. The Goliath upgrade was framed as a huge step for handling massive transaction volumes.
Makes sense. What else is influencing things? I saw something about SXCN.
Yeah, SXCN, Disruption Banking covered that. It's basically a liquid staking token.
Like stETH for Ethereum.
Exactly like stETH. So you stake your XCN, you earn yield automatically, but the SXCN token you get back back, is tradable, usable. It keeps your staked assets liquid.
Clever. So you get the staking rewards and flexibility.
Precisely. It encourages holding and participation without completely locking up value. It's a smart mechanism.
Okay. So tech upgrades, staking innovations. What about just, where you can buy the stuff? Exchanges?
Always huge in crypto. Availability is key. CoinRanking gave us a pretty long list.
Like who?
Oh, Gate.io, HTX Global, Bitham, Kraken, KuCoin, BitJit, Bitmart. Quite a few big and medium ones. MEXC, CoinDCX, LBank. The list goes on.
So it's fairly accessible.
Reasonably, yeah. And trading volumes vary across them, obviously. But beyond where it's listed now...
You're thinking potential future listings.
Yeah.
The rumor mill.
Exactly. The Binance effect, as they call it. Disruption Banking mentioned XCN futures are already on Binance. That's significant.
But the big prize is a full spot listing, right?
That's the one everyone watches for. CoinMarketCap, Captain Altcoin. They both noted how rumors of a full Binance listing tend to pump the price.
People buying the rumor.
Often happens. Captain Altcoin even mentioned an analyst, Caesar.
Yeah. What did they say?
Speculating that Binance might wait until XCN hits a certain price, maybe $0 or 8 cents before listing it.
Interesting theory. That'd be quite a jump from where it is now.
It would. And CoinGabber also specifically mentioned the partnership with HTX Global, another major exchange, as being important.
So more exchanges means more access, more volume, potentially higher price. Standard crypto logic.
Pretty much. Now, shifting views a little, it's not just about tech and exchanges, is it? There's the community aspect, too.
Good point. How's the Onyx community looking?
Seems pretty strong, actually. CoinGabber pointed to things like governance proposals. OIP 52 was one they mentioned getting overwhelming support.
So active and engaged.
Looks that way. That kind of buy-in on the project's direction is usually seen as a positive sign.
Okay, makes sense. Now, can we talk charts? What are the technical analysts saying? Any clear signals there?
The tea leaves of technical analysis. Well, we saw a mix, as usual.
Always a mix, isn't it?
Pretty much. B in Crypto mentioned the RSI, that's the Relative Strength Index.
Measures momentum, right? Buying versus selling pressure.
Exactly. It was sitting kind of neutral, around 43 to 67, but they did see some potential signs of recovery starting.
Okay, neutral, but maybe turning up. What else?
Binance Square flagged a bullish crossover on the MACD indicator. That often suggests upward price potential.
Bullish MACD, but there's always a but.
Well, Bean Crypto also noted the ADX indicator suggested the strength of the current trend was weakening. So maybe the momentum is fading slightly, even if other signals look okay.
Conflicting signals. Typical.
Isn't it just? Then you have chart patterns. Bellabit saw a golden cross on the hourly chart.
That's usually bullish, right? Short-term average crossing above a long-term one.
Generally, yes. But they also saw a symmetrical triangle pattern forming.
Which means breakout potential, but could go either way, up or down.
Precisely. Ambiguous. CoinGabber's analysis mentioned cup and handle patterns, bullish flags. Those are typically seen as potential upward continuation patterns.
So some bullish patterns, some neutral indicators, some warning signs. The charts aren't giving a single clear answer.
Rarely do. And then you have the key price levels everyone watches. Support and resistance.
Yeah, where are those lines in the sand right now?
Various analyses pointed to support levels, kind of like price floors, maybe around 0.160 cents.
Okay, so levels to watch if the price drops further.
Exactly. And on the upside, resistance levels, ceilings the price needs to break through, were mentioned at 0.02 cents, 0.0229, 0.025.
And higher.
Some looked higher, yeah. 0.0305, even up towards 0.04 cents, 0.04 cents. And in those really optimistic scenarios, $0.10 was mentioned as a target.
10 cents would tie into that Binance listing rumor, wouldn't it?
It potentially could, yeah. These levels are where the buying and selling pressure really shows up.
Okay. So technicals are mixed, but watching key levels. What about the wider market? Does Bitcoin moving pull XCN along?
It seems to, yeah. Binance Square touched on that. General crypto market rallies, often led by Bitcoin or Ethereum or even Solana and XRP sometimes, can definitely give a boost to coins like XCN.
The rising tide lifts all boats idea.
Kind of. They even mentioned, though, probably short-term noise, how things like big global news, I think Trump's tariff talk was mentioned, can ripple through sentiment.
Right. And don't forget basic economics, like inflation and interest rates. One Safe blog brought that up.
Absolutely. Those macro factors influence how attractive crypto looks as an asset class overall. It's all connected.
Definitely. One last piece before predictions. The tokenomics. How does the supply work for XCN?
Right. Important stuff. CoinGabber and the YouTube video laid it out. Maximum possible supply is capped around 68.8 billion XCN.
Okay, max supply, what's the actual total in circulating?
Total supply is near 48.4 billion, and the amount actually circulating available to trade is somewhere in the range of 32.5 to 33.2 billion.
Got it. And there's a burn mechanism.
Yeah, on the XCN ledger, they use the EIP 15559 model, similar to Ethereum. A portion of the transaction fees gets burned permanently removed.
Which theoretically could make the remaining coins more scarce over time.
That's the idea. It can potentially support the value by reducing supply growth.
Okay, so we've covered tech, staking, exchanges, community charts, market context, tokenomics. Quite a few moving parts.
Definitely a complex picture.
So putting it all together, what are the analysts actually predicting for the price? I bet it's all over the map.
You would not be wrong. Short-term views vary quite a bit.
Like what?
Binance Square suggested maybe 0.015 to 0.017 relatively soon, like in the next week or two.
So maybe stabilizing around the current level or slightly lower.
Possibly. Others saw potential for a dip back towards 0.02 cents, weirdly enough predicting a drop to a higher number than it is now, maybe meaning a bounce first, then a drop, or maybe just different time frames.
Or a bounce back up to 0.035s or more.
That was mentioned too as a short-term possibility. It really depends on the analyst's model and time frame.
Okay, short-term is fuzzy. What about longer term? Any bold calls?
Oh yeah, there are definitely some very bullish long-term takes out there. CoinGabber highlighted one analyst, Javon Marks,
That's his target.
predicting XCN could reach 0.18 centines by the end of 2025.
18 cents. That's a tenfold increase from now.
Roughly, yeah. And CoinGabber also mentioned even wilder calls hitting $1 by 2030, even higher figures for 2040, 2050.
Wow, okay. That's very long-term and very optimistic.
Yeah.
They also mentioned someone seeing a 420% surge possibility.
Yeah, to that same 0.1818 some cent level based on their technical readings, apparently.
And near term, some see a rally to maybe 0.045 or 0.05 cents if things go well. Bellabit and CoinGabber.
That seemed to be a potential target if the positive momentum holds, yes, but, and this is crucial,
It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
not at all. We have to include the more skeptical views, trading view analysis, for example, throughout the idea of scam pumps and dumps.
Oof, harsh. What levels were they talking about?
Suggesting potential buy zones much lower, maybe 0.01 cents to 0.01014, and then looking to sell much higher, like $0.10 to 15 cents. Basically warning about manipulation.
It's a really important reminder, isn't it? High volatility means high risk, and not every project or price move is organic.
Absolutely essential to remember that, which kind of brings us back to the core purpose of Onyx itself, beyond just the XCN price speculation.
Right. It's not just about trading the token. What's the bigger vision?
CoinMarketCap and that YouTube video really emphasized Onyx's goal, building infrastructure. A scalable, secure ledger system for multiple assets, specifically for financial ecosystems.
Focused on getting banks and traditional finance players using blockchain, basically.
That seems to be the core mission, yeah. Institutional adoption, efficient transaction processing for finance. Crypto News hit on that too.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up then, what are the main takeaways?
Well, it's clear XCN is a pretty lively and volatile asset right now. Lots of big swings.
Driven by a whole mix of things.
Definitely. You've got their own tech developments like Goliath and the XCN ledger. You've got exchange activity listings, rumors.
Community engagement seems solid, and then the usual technical chart factors and the overall crypto market mood.
It's a complex brew, and while there's clearly excitement, some really bullish predictions out there.
We have to stress the risks, right? Crypto is inherently volatile. Do your own research.
Always. Couldn't say it better. Which leaves us with maybe a final thought for our listeners to chew on.
Go for it.
Given Onyxcoin's strong links to traditional finance, Visa, NASDAQ, and its clear focus on institutional blockchain use, could this be one of the key projects that actually bridges the gap?
The gap between the old financial world and the new decentralized one.
Exactly. And if it does succeed, or even just plays a significant role, what does that mean for how value moves around the world in the future?
That's a big question. Definitely something to think about. Worth keeping an eye on Onyx and the whole evolving space.